You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker. Of course, I'm Frank Trigg. That is the Rhino, Doug Marshall, getting ready to fight Alexander Shlemenko coming up in Bellator on November 15th. Kind of a fight that I thought was going to happen a while ago because I kind of see you two guys as the better strikers in the organization right now. I kind of thought matchmaking would have put you guys together earlier. Were you as excited as I was when I heard the fight was going on?
Oh, I'm extremely excited. You know what I mean? For him to be the champion and me winning the tournament. I think that's the reason why we didn't get hooked up sooner. You know what I mean? He was on his way to becoming the champion. I needed to prove myself in Bellator. I ran through that tournament, and that's where I'm sitting now, sitting pretty.
And you really did run through the tournament. I mean, it was a run through on that tournament. We're going back to you can go back to Kalahose, back when you fought him in November 30th of 2012. That wasn't part of the tournament. Then all of a sudden you hit Andreas Spang, Sultan Aliyev, and Brett Cooper. And here's how your last four fights went, as if you don't remember, but it's for the folks at home. KO,
Yeah.
TKO, a split decision with Sultan, which was a very close fight, but I believe that you won it. I agree with the decision. I've talked to some of my friends. They argue the other way, but it was a very close fight. You get the victory. Brett Cooper, KO. So you actually have KO, TKO, decision, KO. That's how your last four
Yep.
fights have gone. You are wrecking fools. Did that fight back with Galasik back in May of 2012 give you a wake up call? Because if you look at your footage, you're not a completely different fighter. You still fight the way you fight, but a drastically improved fighter when you fought Kalahose, and then Spang and Cooper. You kept getting better and better. Was that loss to Zelig a kind of a wake up call for you?
I wouldn't really say it was a wake up call. You know what it was is there was a lot of things with that fight. It was my first fight out of the United States.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He didn't make weight. He was actually 11 pounds over. I'm not one of those fighters that makes up a lot of excuses, but I really think I was out of my element. And I don't know, things just didn't go my way. I didn't feel right. You know what I mean? But then being back here in the United States, and especially, on the main stage, being in Bellator, I was fired up, for the Kalahos fight. I wanted to go out there and prove something and show everybody that not only am I a contender, but you better watch out. You know what I mean? Especially in that 85 division.
Now, there's rumors, and no one's really sure if it's actually going to happen, but Bellator may start traveling out of the country and start going to foreign destinations to start having some of these fights. Is that going to be a problem for you now that you've done it one time in Super Fight League when you fought Galasek? Is that going to be an issue for you now to travel?
No, because you know what? Bellator, I feel like Bellator is my home. You know what I mean? Like when I step into that cage and I see all these familiar faces, I literally feel like I'm in my backyard, no matter whether it's New Jersey, Michigan, North Carolina, the places that I fought around the United States. So if we were to go, to Russia, you know what I mean, or something like that, I don't think I would have a problem with it now.
It is tough, and a lot of fighters are very lucky where they get to travel internationally very young in their career. For you, it was a very long time before you fought in internationally, record wise.
Yeah.
And so it is a kind of a weird thing the first time you get over there and trying to feel it out. You're already kind of a household name when you had that loss, and then you come around and now you're on a 4-fight win streak, just killing fools. And it's very interesting now. If Alexander even goes back to the Kalahose fight and goes, okay, this is how I'm going to study Doug Marshall to figure out how to fight him, it won't be the same fighter that he sees that fought Brett Cooper. It's not the same guy. So with that being said, do you think Alexander has improved or changed over his last 4 or 5 fights in an area that you really have to concentrate on and kind of pay attention to?
Well, without being the over cocky, Rhino one-liner, you know what? I really look at his fights. I thought, especially now being able to see him fight Brett Cooper this last fight, I wasn't impressed. You know what I mean? I really, those two dudes, they put on a hell of a fight. It was a really good fight. It was interesting. You know what? They were going at it. There was no boring times for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't impressed. I didn't see a lot of power. I didn't see a lot of craftiness that you usually can find in a fighter that has 50-plus fights. I didn't see a lot of great setups. I didn't see a lot of speed. I really didn't see anything to be worried about. So does that make me worried? Maybe. I'm like, well, there's got to be some reason why this guy is 48-9 but I think he doesn't carry enough power to fight and strike with me. If he's smart and he wants to win this fight, he's going to need to pull a Care Bear move and take me down and lay on me for 5 rounds. Brett Cooper went 3.5 minutes with me, and then I knocked him out. I think I hit him 6 times. One of those times was completely unnecessary because he was out.
He was already, yeah.
Yeah, Brett Cooper and Shlemenko hit each other. I think Shlemenko hit him 139 strikes or something like that throughout the 25 minutes. If I hit you 139 times, you're dead. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and,
good point. Okay.
You know, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? A lot of people, I've been, and I totally think this is an insult, that I'm the Tank Abbott 2.0 rebooted. That's not the case. You know, when I step in there, I'm looking where I'm punching, I'm moving my head, I'm looking to attack, and I'm looking to attack with power. So man, I've got to do something. I can't stand in front of this guy. You know what I mean? He's looking to take me out. He's not looking for points. He's looking to take me out. So, you know what? I'm not overly impressed with Alexander. I know he's really, really tough. You know, he's a great fighter. It's just not going to be enough to beat me.
With Alexander, when I see him, and I watch tape on him, watch footage on him, I get the sense he's a guy that doesn't practice very much. He spends most of his practice time warming up in the back, and then he goes and fights. Because for a long time in his career, he was fighting very, very quickly, back-to-back fights, a lot of overtime. Because to get over 50 fights, it takes a lot of work to get over 50 fights. And he was doing a lot of fighting and not much practicing. To me, he looks like a guy that's very confident, and he's had a lot of time. He's a lot of minutes inside the ringer cage. And that's why he kind of wins, is because he doesn't really understand when he's in trouble. He doesn't really understand what's going on. And you're right. He throws a very high punch volume that offsets you. So you get hit with 139 punches, you end up losing the fight, but you're not really, you don't have a broken orbital bone. Your nose isn't on the side of your face. There's damage because you're puffy and swollen, but it's not real damage that you have to go to see a surgeon or a doctor. You're right, Doug. If you hit somebody 139 times, they are dead because you do hit with power every single time. But the one thing that you also have that people don't give you enough credit for is your accuracy, your hand speed and your accuracy. You hit guys where you're looking. You know where you want to place the punch. Even if they're moving forward or moving backward, you're still able to hit them right not necessarily on the button to put them out, but you're able to put it right in the danger zone every time you touch them. Even if they get a little hand up to get part of it away, you're still catching them, with part of your glove. So that's something Shlemenko doesn't do. Alexander doesn't do that. He just throws a high volume and catches you a lot because he throws so many. And so Are you going to be patient, or are you going to have to match his punch rate? Because he's going to come at you throwing 75 punches that first round. That's a lot of defense you're going to have to maintain to not get tagged up and not get beat up. So you're going to have to up your punch rate as well because he's throwing so much, or you're just going to defend, move, get out of the way, and then smack him whenever the opportunity finally arises.
Well, there's a couple different ways to look at it. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily going to throw my game plan out there or even say that I have a game plan. At the end of the day, he's going to try to punch and kick me. I'm going to try to punch and kick him. But let's just say if I don't defend and I look to immediately counter, it's kind of like both guys going offense versus offense. Mm-hmm. He hits me 3 times. I hit him 1 time. I win that exchange just from the power rate. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the only way that I see him possibly winning is dragging it out. I've never been past the 3rd round. You know, when I fought Sultan Olive, he took me to a decision. Believe me, I didn't want that to go to the decision.
Right.
I would almost rather lose an exciting fight than win a boring fight. You know, I kind of want to put it out there. I know at the end of the day, it's my job to win fights and make my money, but one of my favorite fights that I fought was when I fought James Irvin, and I lost that fight. It was a brawl. You know what I mean? I was bloodied up. I like to be exciting. I like to build my fan base. And when people are clicking through the channels and they see me fighting, they're not like, I don't want to watch this fight. You know what I mean? This guy's a boring, you know, whether I win or lose, I like to try to be exciting. But if we step into the ring or into the cage, I'll draw a line right there in the middle of the cage and say, if you want to meet me right here and we can just roll the dice and whatever happens, happens, I think I win that 9 out of 10 times.
Talking about that James Irvin fight, that was back in May of 2005 with WEC 15, and that was a great fight,
Yep.
and that was an amazingly tremendous. You guys went back and forth before you caught that knee and got KO'd in the second round,
Yep.
but it was an amazing back and forth fight, and I thought the same with the Brian Stan fight. Both you guys went after, even though it was another one of your losses, you went after it the entire time. Brian went after it the entire time before you got caught. It was only a minute and a half, minute 40 or so into the first round, but both you guys were going for it the entire time. And that's one of the things that makes people get excited about you fighting, no matter who you're fighting, is that 9 times out of 10, you're trying to bring it the entire time. Sullivan did a really good job of slowing the pace down and staying out of the way and forcing him to go to a decision, because I think he felt after you hit him one time early in the middle of the first round, he's like, I'm not going to be able to hit him hard enough to put him down. He's hitting me hard enough to put me down. Let me kind of get out of the way a little bit and slow the pace down. I think that's kind of what went through Sultan's head.
And you know what? With that fight, I do a lot of analysis of my own fights and mistakes that I've made. You know what? I'm a very emotional fighter. You know, when I start getting mad, like this guy's just taking me down, I'm getting frustrated. So then instead of slowing it down and working a little more technique, if I would have went back in that fight, instead of throwing that big wind up left hook, just started pumping him with that jab, getting him to move and set him up, I probably would have knocked him out at the end of the first round. But I'm just like, I'm getting fired up, and I'm like, God, I want to knock this motherfucker out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I need to stay away from that. I need to stay with it and away from it. Don't buy too much in. Don't play into his game. You know what I mean? Like, I've shown through the fights from the Calahos to the Cooper fight, technically 4 different fights.
Yeah.
Calahos, I came out just blazing, guns blazing. Then, with Andreas Spang, came out a little more reserved, and I think that threw him for a loop. He was like, fuck, where's this crazy aggressive guy that we were training for? So I come out, move around, see what he wants to do, defend, and then I start firing him up. And then with Cooper, back and forth. I think I showed that I worked on my wrestling a lot, working the whizzer and, getting up off of the fence. So it's going to be tough for Alexander. Now that I've been working my wrestling a lot, who says the Rhino doesn't have a takedown of his own?
True.
You know what I mean? That's one thing guys really don't have to worry about with me. Oh, he's a one-dimensional fighter. I never have to worry about the takedown. You know what? If I can implement that and throw that into my game, now he's got to play honest. You know what I mean? I got to work that run game if I want to throw that long pass,
That makes sense. All right, Rhino, thanks a lot for coming on here with us for a couple minutes. Have fun.
course.
Have fun, man, when you end this fight. It's going to be a good 5-rounder. It's a great championship fight. It's well worthy of being a title fight, and it'd be really nice to see that title back on an American. That'd be really, really nice. So,
That's right.
All right, Doug. We'll
All right,
talk to you
Brent.
soon, bud.
All right, my man. See ya.